So I've got a 2005 Silverado here. It's a 3/4 ton with a 6 liter, I believe. It's got a code for the knock sensor 2, saying that second knock sensor has a low frequency, or it's missing the frequency, essentially is how I read that code. I'll show you how I got there. But what I've done, got the truck running right now. I'm going to turn the camera around and show you that in a second. But I got the truck running right now. I've got, I'm actually using my Zeus, but I've got a 4425A Pico coming. I've got the 4424, I think, whatever the cheap two-channel Pico is. More so just to show you that while I am running my Zeus as the computer in this scenario, you can have a cheap, HP laptop or something running, and have $400 in a scope setup and get Pico software. The scope I have does not do Pico 7 Automotive. It does 7 Why Pico decided to take that scope off there? They say because it's got a 20 volt max. A lot of signals you have to attenuate when you're using that scope, but they didn't want people frying their scopes, putting them on injectors and stuff. I guess I don't know, but I've got Pico 7 running. I've got the 4424. I could be wrong with those numbers. I'll go check and show you. I've got the truck running, and I'm gonna show you what I got. I've got the truck running. I've got the PCM pulled out here. I had to look up. I couldn't get the back of this off. I know I've got holes in wires. I'll clean that up when I'm done. Not something I necessarily care for, but only thing I could do in this scenario with that bolt, pulling that connector down and stuff, not being able to take that back cover off. See, there's two bolts holding that connector on. So going over here, see that one of my channels, again, I think I got the number wrong. This is a 2000 series, 2204A, little Pico. I think these are like $200. I got that one off Amazon. If you don't have, if you're just getting into this and you don't necessarily want to drop the money on a more expensive Pico, you only get 2 channels, but you can see I have it working. Don't like the way my screen's flickering here. It's not really, it's just my camera showing that, but you can see that on channel B, I have a signal. On channel A, I have no signal. Come up here. See, I've got 2 gray wires, both those knock sensors. If you get this connector off, you can see in here, and you can actually see that these pins are numbered. That's how I got to where I am right now. Got the right pin grabbed. But let's work backwards. Now that you see one has signal, one does not. I'm going to call a knock sensor on this at this point in time, only because to get to that knock sensor, I got to get under that intake. All that knock sensor is a little piezo crystal, and as there's a change, it fluctuates. So if anybody's used a pulse sensor works the same way. It's got a little piezo crystal in there. As that crystal moves, it creates a voltage. There's a lot of good resources out there as far as what piezo crystals do. For a period there, if you were using a diesel, some diesels use piezo injectors, and they stack those crystals and apply the voltage to move them. So a lot of good information on piezo crystals out there, but that's what that knock sensor is, and I'll show you how they have it set up. Just to show you, this is, I think I got this from Rodkey. Yeah, it says Rodkey right there. But this is a pulse sensor, and these pulse sensors, they have a little piezo crystal in them. I've got it on channel A there where we didn't have any signal before. See, the truck's not running. I no longer have that signal on channel B. Make sure my ground's good, stuff like that. It is moving a little bit, but that's because of the sensor there. But I have this pulse sensor hooked up to channel A and a piezo crystal. When it moves or when it hears noise, it gives an output. So that's sitting on the motor. The motor's running. If there was a knock like's happening here, it'd give a big signal. But normal running, just like, I can kind of talk into this, but if I talk into this or blowing it, you see that is creating, it actually picks up noise. So what we were seeing before was just that engine running. And like I said, and if it has a knock, it sees a big sensor, a big spike, and it essentially, the ECM sees that as an engine knock. It'll retard the ignition timing. I think it might do more than that. On this vehicle, it probably only retards the ignition timing. But that's what we're looking at. That's what those knock sensors do. To show you how I got here, we should first look at our codes. So we got the codes. We're not really going to look at some of the ones that are here, but the one we're chasing is this. It was right in front of me. Oh, I can hold these papers still. Is that P032 knock sensor KS2 circuit low frequency. We saw that live. There was no feedback from that knock sensor. So again, we can confirm, hey, the computer's doing, it's happening what the computer's seeing is happening. Let's exit out of that real quick. Yeah, right there, looking at this. Let's type in knock sensor. Well, not what I wanted, but maybe that'll still take me to. Now, if you're using color diagrams or using ProDomain, you got to be careful. See how that says bi-fuel right there? This is a gasoline. Apparently some of these can run off CNG. That's what it's looking like. Not something I've ever seen here. This is all bi-fuel stuff. We're a venue, bi-fuel. There we are. Here we are, venue. You see one of those KS signal. Zoom in. I know my hand's probably not the most exciting thing to see in this video, but we got that pin 11 was that light blue that we're on. Knock sensor signal. And then pin 51 is that dark blue we're on, is the knock sensor signal. You go to the next page, knock sensor 1, knock sensor 2. That light blue was our channel B. I'll show you again up here. We got, I know it's hard to tell because that is a darker blue, and that is a lighter blue. This is the one that we didn't get a signal off of. Again, when I get back to the knock sensors, I'm gonna go ahead and sell them now. I'm gonna do exactly what I do with that pulse sensor there, and I'm gonna leave them hooked up and put something next to it and tap on it, see if I get a signal, back here. Make sure it's not a wiring issue, but more likely than not, age on this vehicle, it's gonna be that knock sensor, and we have to pull and take off to get down in there. I don't see the point in charging the customer diag time to get under that intake when, we're right here. We can see we're at a level 1. That's an hour. We actually couldn't talk to this truck when we started. It had the cigarette lighter fuse blown. So we went ahead and got that taken care of, got to where we could talk to the truck again, pulled codes, and this is what I found on the code list. Biggest thing, the engine, is that knock sensor. You see what the outcome is there. So what I'm going to call is a knock sensor, piezo crystal. It grounds on the sensor body itself, has one wire, and that grounds just so it has a complete circuit. There's not a bias voltage or anything on these. Sometimes these will be 2 wires. If I have a floating ground, they'll write a bias. It just depends on setup, but on this particular one, all I've got is single wire piezo crystal doing an output. One is, one isn't. Gonna go ahead and throw a sensor in it. Again, this was on a 2005, I think I said 6 earlier, but a 2005 3/4 ton Chevrolet with a 6 liter in it. Hope you enjoyed it.